Good evening, everybody. I am sorry for this unexpected stream, but I was just watching some stuff about the big, wonderful bill in the USA, and I thought I should simply just turn on the camera and start talking into it. Okay? If nobody of the usual watches this, man, no worries. Okay? I didn't announce it, so I am subjected to it. Okay? Now, first of all, uh, I am going to say something that I have said often in my other videos, but I will repeat it again so people understand this. My native language is not English, okay? So sometimes I have to stop and think about it before I utter the words, okay? So I'm not trying to mumble my words or whatever. This is how I speak. And if I, as a non-native speaker of English, am able to understand everyone, and I have talked with Scottish people, with Australian people, with New Zealand people, with English people, okay? And if I could understand them, if they spoke a bit not so fast, okay, I think anyone can understand me. So if I see another comment about that shit, I will not even bother to answer, okay? My native languages, if you don't know, are two: Portuguese and German. Okay, those are the two languages in which I grew up speaking, and which are my, let's call it, ethnic languages. Okay, both of them. Now, let's talk about this bill. Okay, I'm going to start by saying this. It's absolutely disgusting. You want to know why? Number one, because I see people voting against their own best interests via their politicians. And number two, because this bill will affect the ones that are in the bottom echelons of society, meaning, with all these fancy words, the poor. Okay, no taxes on tips. Why do you need tips? Because your government doesn't have a minimum wage according to living standards like in almost everywhere in the world. Even Russia has a bloody minimum wage. Okay? I don't know about China, I think also has a minimum wage. Everyone has a minimum wage. Oh, hay fever. Except the United States, where people have to live this life, this culture of getting tipped for doing their job. And then they arrive at other places and they are surprised that, for example, here, tipping is neither an obligation and neither a habit. Okay? The employer, he's the one that has the duty to pay a decent wage to his employees for them to do a job. Of course, sometimes if you like the service, if you like the attention of a person, of course you can tip them. Okay, I personally have done it. It's nothing out of the out of the order. Okay, something extraordinary, nothing like that. Okay, but there is no fixed percentages on the service that comes directly with the amount you have to pay for your meal or whatever. And to someone like me that lives in a world where people are supposed to at least get a decent pay, look, and I am not saying that sometimes you are poorly paid for your job and that salary should be a bit higher. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Of course, we have those situations too. The issue here is the issue here is that salary is calculated by the respective government of the country as a minimum a minimum. So down, no. As a minimum threshold of what a person should get for the job they are doing, whatever it is. And it also serves as a means of calculations for all other categories of pay inside society. And that minimum wage, you want to know how it is negotiated. The government, when they are proposing to have an alteration to rise, because it always rises, okay, the minimum pay, because if the society is getting richer, if inflation or whatever the costs of living are increasing, then the pay also has to increase. It either stays the same or it increases. It can never go down, because if you are at that threshold, that's the minimum threshold, minimum wage. That's the name. But you want to know how the governments here do it? They meet the associations of the employers, they meet with the associations and syndicates, okay, of the workers. They take in all of that information. If they are a minority government, they also speak with other parties in the parliament, and then they decide on the value. And that value will never be exactly what the workers want. That value will never be exactly what the employers want. But at least it will be a value upon which everyone will agree. They might not like it, but they will agree. It's what you could it's what was possible to do. And you go to the United States and there is only one rule. How much does your employer earns? You are secondary. You keep calling us bloody socialists. I don't know why the fuck. I don't understand it. I think you are all nutters. I think you all have some kind of deficiency on your reasoning, because you don't know what a bloody socialist is. You don't know what a socialist is. You don't know what a communist is. You don't even know what an anarchist is. Despite the fact that a large part of the anarchist movement existed in the United States in the early 1900s and 1920s. But you soon forgot all of that to become the piece of shit in terms of human rights and in terms of workers' rights that you are today. And I see this without no no remorse at all. And I'm not generalizing. I'm stating the truth. Okay? In your country, workers are cogs in a machine. And only the guy that is running the machine gets the profit. You get whatever. Look, you get what the toilet bowl gets after you have finished your meal or after you have drank your beer. That is what you get. And you say thank you and say, sir, yes, sir, can I get some more? This is the way you think. And I cannot understand how a people that self proclaims itself as so intelligent, as so smart, as the fatherland of the capitalism, how can you act like that? Either you are not that, or you have some kind of mental deficiency, some kind of problem, some kind of issue. Because you want to know who are the first to take a hit by this big, beautiful bill. No? Single parent couples of sorry, single households, just the mom or dad with the kids, that SNAP is gone. Okay? So you are literally commemorating in this day in which your country supposedly celebrates its independence, you are celebrating children and single moms not eating. Because it will happen. I say it's already happening. And old people with low income. Look, you want to know, I'm going to tell you this. Around here, when we see an older person working, we say, look at them. God damn it. That old and still working and still wanting to work. That person wants to work. Sometimes, of course, they have a low pension, retirement pension, or whatever, and those people, and they need to work because they need money to help themselves or their family, which is the majority of the cases. But there isn't. It's not common. Okay, it's not common. My grandfather, the half German guy that I keep talking about, he was like that. He was, I don't know, he was almost 80 years old, and he was still working in accounting and whatever. He basically he went to collect invoices and whatever to companies and to certain places, okay, and then he would bring them to the person that had asked him to go there, and he would collect a commission. Okay, basically, this was what he was doing when he was this age. Okay, and he had done a lot of things. Okay, but he was doing it because he wanted to earn some little more money and to keep his mind occupied and to keep his days occupied. Okay, but he wasn't doing something like I saw of a man that was more than 80 years old working as a greeter or some shit like that in a supermarket in the US. And you think, oh, isn't this so oh, look at him, he's still working. Let's talk about productivity. And if you don't know this, use your browser, use your search engine or whatever, or even here in YouTube, there are a couple of videos talking about it, and go analyze the level of productivity average of an European worker. And when I mean Europe, I mean the EU, I mean the UK, okay? I mean all of Europe. Go and watch the average productivity of a worker in Europe and in the US. Okay, I'll tell you. It's about the same. It's about the same. Higher in some areas, lower in some areas, but it's about the bloody same. However, we have holidays, mandatory by law in most of Europe. We have holidays like official holidays, like for example, you have your 4th of July. Here in Portugal, it's the 10th of June, for example, and Christmas and whatever. Okay, you have sick days here, paid sick days. Okay, you have healthcare with some issues in some areas, like in all corners of the world, but you have it. You have social support when you are sick, when you can work for any reason, when you need help. You have all of that. You have schedules of working. When you go to work and you sign a contract, it's from this hour to this hour. And there is a maximum number of hours, pardon me, you can do in a week. You have a lunch hour. Okay? If you need a day, you either speak with your employer to have that day, or you go to the doctor's office if you need it. They give you a declaration because you're going to, for example, you're going to have a procedure or whatever, and you present it. If you don't have money, you'll still get healthcare. If you don't have money, you will still have support from the authorities, from the city halls, from the social security services, even from the bloody church. Meaning, we have more days and more time. Time is the key word here. Like, for example, today I finished my work, and when I got out, I'm not going to talk about my work, maybe someday, but not. But let's just say it's a bit stressful at the times. I got out of my work. I was feeling bloody tired, tired of people, of listening to people and talking with people, if you know what I mean. And I just got out at my usual time when my work ends. I sat in a coffee shop, cafe here, and I drank a tea, just sitting down. Nice iced tea, just watching people pass by, just and next to me, other people doing the same. Tomorrow, for example, it's Saturday. It's a bit hot for me outside right now because, as you can see, I'm rather pale and I have some issues with the sun, health problems. Okay, I have to be extremely careful. But I'm planning. I'm going to look, wake up in the morning, put on some sneakers, okay, some light clothing, and just go and walk, either in the woods or around town, because we do have places, our towns, our towns and our cities, they are also made thinking about people. Okay, so we have sidewalks, big sidewalks many times, so that people with children, okay, they can go and use that. And bicycles also, we have bicycle lanes. And you want to know why we have all of that? Because cities are made for people. Cities were here before cars were. Cars are, they have to adapt. Okay, just this afternoon after work, and after I had to go and pick up a family member, I had to park my car in the almost in the bloody outside of the town and walk to him to go get him because there was no parking space. Because parking spaces at this hour in the Friday, not easy. Okay, but yet I would not change that for an American city. To tell you the truth, American cities give me the creeps. And most of them are like that. They give me the bloody creeps. Only an American would be able to invent something like jaywalking. What the fuck is that? People need to walk. It's what we were. It's how we were designed. Okay, we have two legs. You mean what? You want to know what those legs are meant to? It means you walk. Okay, it's not just for the pedals in your car. Those legs are there for you to walk through. Okay, but let's continue. I just I got off track, but oh, look, I don't care. Now, this big wonderful bill, what is it going to do? Deregularize AI, meaning they will be able, and when I mean they, I mean the people with money that are using this technology, because all this is just a bloody technology. Okay, it's just another technology like electricity, like when we transition from steam to internal combustion engines. Okay, this is another technology. Okay, and a lot of jobs will be redundant, will be obsolete, and other jobs will be created in via of using this type of technology. Okay, so this is all absolutely normal. This is human nature. There were riots when the mechanical when mechanization was applied to traditional sorry to textiles and textile production. There were riots because a lot of jobs were lost when mechanization was introduced, and instead of needing 20 or 30 people to do the task, they only needed one or two. This also happened. Look, a traditional job that existed. It was the job of the person that went around town lighting the gas or the gas or fuel lights in the streets, the public lights. That job was gone. From the minute that electricity entered, that the job was over because we no longer needed a person to go around and do that. In certain jobs in farming, it's also going to end. Picking up soft fruits, okay, certain specific products, you are always going to need a human hand to do it. But there will be a day in which you will have an AI powered tractor harvesting wheat, harvesting crops, sowing crops, and that is not necessarily bad, even in terms of economy, even in terms of comfort, because it's not easy to work in the fields. Me, I worked a couple of times in the fields, but I'm a baker's son, so I usually would be in the bakery working. For example, for such jobs as traditional bakery, there are sayings that no matter what machine you put there, the machines are only auxiliaries. They are only there to assist the worker. Because there are certain sayings, like the way you knead the dough, a series of sayings that you always need that human factor. And we are going to integrate AI into our lives just like we have integrated everything. But that will take time, and that might not be necessarily accepted. And there is a danger right now of starting to use things without previously verifying the processes in order to avoid disasters. And look, to tell you the truth, I am not at all surprised that the US has literally voted to deregularize this shit. I am not surprised at all. You wanna know why? They do the same thing with your food. If you go to Europe, to the EU, even if you go to China, almost everywhere in a civilized world, a product will only be used for human consumption of any kind, be it a medicine, be it a food, that product will only be used if the producer proves that that does not affect the people. This means that every time I go to the supermarket and I buy something produced here, I am, per principle, certain that I can eat that food safely, that there are no secondary effects, there are no collateral damages. I can eat it and it's safe. In the US, want to know how it is? You have to prove that the product is bad for people before you remove it from market. This is why your Fanta tastes like shit. This is why your candy tastes like shit. This is why your chocolate tastes like shit. To me, look, I know this for a fact. All of these products that I mentioned now, I I have tasted the American version. So I know your chocolate makes me puke because of the different process of producing it. And it doesn't taste like chocolate. It tastes like sweet shit. It's the only way I can find it to describe it. And the Fanta, it tastes nothing like Fanta. Fanta here tastes like carbonated orange juice. It has that sweet taste. I happen to like it. Okay? And our chocolate here tastes like chocolate. If it's milk chocolate, it's a bit sweeter. If it's dark chocolate, it tastes like chocolate. Coffee here tastes like coffee. Okay? And now you are going to be the guinea pigs of the AI companies. I'm certain they are feeling wonderful. Look, I'm not saying, look, understand this, please. I am not saying they are going to purposely endanger the public with dangerous products, because that's bad for business, of course. If your car, instead of driving you from point A to point B, starts discussing Nietzsche with you while it tries to murder you with a disposable ashtray or a seatbelt, of course that will be bad for business. The issue here is that they are going to be able to drop products in the market that they really don't know how it will work, how it will function. Because when you're dealing, for example, like something like AI, you have to control it. And I'm not talking about this idea of people, the Terminator scenario and all of that shit. Look, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a thing as simple as this. I need my toaster to toast my bread to perfection. I don't need it to discuss philosophy and religion with me. So I wouldn't say no to an AI that would monitor my bread and that would toast it just like I like it. What would be the issue with that? But I want it to do what it's built to do. I don't want something that, for example, will, because of a defective and and bad programmation, would, for example, decide it's not going to toast my bread, it's going to electrocute me. This is the real danger. Okay? Like self-driving cars with AI. Look, you are being the guinea pigs. Literally. And they are going to use you as guinea pigs for technology that they then are going to try to sell outside of your country. But I don't think they will be able to do it. You want to know why? Because the outside world, like we are calling it, the outside world is taking measures to block you. This is what the United States is going to get. It's going to get blocked. But let's continue with the big, wonderful bill. Okay, most of your rural hospitals live of the support of Medicaid or Obamacare, like the idiot in charge likes to call it. That's going to end. And some things are going to end in 2 years' time, so that then the Republicans can blame the Democrats for what is happening, which I find profoundly ironic. But those rural hospitals, hay fever, sorry guys, and girls, and aliens, fellow humans, shit. Those rural hospitals, health posts, whatever you want to call them, I don't know, those are going to die. They're going to die off. Okay? Understand this. They are going to die off. Okay? Because if there is no support, or if the people that use them cannot afford to use them, then they will die off. And then you will have another situation, which will be large sections of your population without access to health care, even if they could afford it. That will cause depopulation of certain areas of your country. That will cause the death of certain communities. And the most ironic of this is that it's going to affect not just the brown people, but it's going to affect white rural America. You know, that stereotype America that you MAGA say you are protecting, bloody heat. You are destroying it. And you are clapping like good little lapdogs. And you call yourselves nationalists. All of these people, they call themselves nationalists, or they say they are working for the good of the country. Are you? When grandma can't stay in the care home and you have to bring her home, or when grandma cannot get the health care she needs, or when one of your kids gets sick, are you going to do what? Call Daddy Trump to come and help you while he's playing golf? You know what I'm saying? Trump, I mean anyone that will come after him. Any president. You are creating permanent effects. Just like you are killing your tourism industry, just like you have literally murdered your soft power. Look, uh, do you lot think that we here in Europe are dumb? Uh, Mr. Trump talks with Mr. Putin apparently during 2 hours. The weapon shipments for certain defensive weapons that were already in the harbors in the Netherlands, ready to be taken, I think, by rail to Ukraine, was stopped. And a couple of hours afterwards, Russia sends the largest aerial bombing of civilian areas this year. Do you think we are dumb? Do you think we don't connect the dots? Do you think we are not looking and seeing what you are doing? Do you think we don't see you are working with that bloody fool in the East? Remember, no fake news, no misinformation. This is my opinion. You don't you don't like my opinion, don't listen to me. But if there is something I have discovered in my life is that there is no such thing as a coincidence. That doesn't exist. Our brains, just like pareidolia, okay, if you don't know, it's that phenomena of seeing things in patterns where they don't exist in nature or whatever. For example, seeing a shadow where there is no shadow, or seeing a face in a rock or in the clouds. You know that game we used to play when we were kids, looking up into clouds and trying to look. That one looks like a horse. That one looks like your dad. Whatever. Our brains are triggered to do that, but they are fooling us because our brains sometimes fool us. Okay, because we are basically more or less, I'm a bit hairy, hairless apes with a big brain, but we are still apes. We are still creatures of this planet. Okay? All of that story, all of that story that we are created at the image of this or that, no. If you believe in such things, you may believe, for example, that some kind of superior being inflated our brain or our souls or whatever you want to call it in order to for us to evolve into what we are today. And that, in a sense, may be creating us at his own image. Okay? But evolution is more than proven. No, I will not discuss this because this is scientific fact. It's not scientific theory. We can see evolution happening. We can go to the records and see it. We can see how our bodies evolve. We can see how our bodies are evolving still to this day. But it's such a painfully slow process that most of you have the liberty to say it's all bollocks. And no, it doesn't happen. Just like the Earth being flat and all of that shit. Tell it to Magellans, okay? That prove that the bloody Earth is round. I think he was, in my view, he was the first person to prove to you, or like saying like, "See you idiots, I told you, the Earth was round." And then he got killed by natives, died in the name of science. Okay, well, he was Portuguese too, like me, so maybe he was a bit nutter also. Now, this bill also has another consequence that I think it's very important. It's a psychological effect of powerless Democrats and the Republicans doing what they want. And to see other things, like the governor of Alaska groveling for advantages to her own state before the almighty king. You are really undermining the basis of your own power. You want to know what your own power, your power was? Your power was to show to the world that a country with strict rules, sorry, again, English is not my bloody first language, a country with strict rules to protect free speech, a country that at least apparently, because I think since Reagan, I think this entire process that we are now witnessing, it happened with Reagan, and perhaps the United States should have fallen at the same time the Soviet Union fell. Both of you should be ended and gone. in my opinion, also. But this process started in that moment. And now, with all this that you are doing, your soft power is murdered. And if you say the nice words some tell about you, oh yes, Mr. Trump is very important to find a solution for this and for that. Uh, you want to know what I call that? Gaining time. Gaining time to have enough military strength, economical strength, to then be in a place where you can say, fuck off, or I don't care what you are saying. The United States was 13% of the world's economy. But I don't know how long it will stay that way. I don't even know if it's that much of the world's economy right now. Probably not. But since I have not seen the numbers, I won't talk about it. This is water, by the way. When it's hot, stay hydrated. And yet, I saw the Republicans all laughing, some were even dancing while the big, wonderful bill was approved. You want to know what I, an anonymous European dressed in a tank top on online. You want to know what my idea about it was? You reminded me of the Nazis celebrating their victory. The only difference is you weren't wearing uniforms. But it's the bloody same feeling, the bloody same disgust that I felt. And again, I am not a bloody leftist. And I don't give a F about whatever you say about it. But it's so funny, it's really so funny how the people, the people that are going to be the most affected with this are celebrating it. I cannot understand that. See these hands are of a person that works. Hmm? I didn't gain this body, this heavy set body, in the gym. Okay? I practice martial arts and I was a baker. Hard work. And I cannot understand how a person that works all day, that needs to work to survive, can support this. How are you not disgusted? Why? Because you're saying brown faces are your enemy? Again, like I said in previous streams, in previous videos, I am a firm believer of controlled immigration. Completely. My country just now created more harsher terms for immigration for all of that. And I fully support it because it needs to be controlled. But did you see where the ICE raiders were? Who are they targeting? Are they going into the barrios looking for the drug dealers, looking for the murders, the rapists, whatever? Or are they going into farming properties, mm, restaurants, manufacturers, places where people are working. That is what they are going. They are even going to the courts where these people are trying to regularize their situation inside of the country. They are going there and they are arresting those people too. Why aren't they targeting where the criminals are? Why? I'll tell you why. It's very nice for an authoritarian regime to have a boogeyman. It's very nice for them. It's very nice to demonize a religion. It's very nice to demonize a race. It's really easy. Women are dying of abortions and problems with pregnancy in your country. Look, we we here we decriminalize it completely and we put rules on it. Immediately, you want to know what happened? The birth rate increased. The birth rate increased and the death of women and children decreased. You have no right over a woman's body. No matter who you don't. If a woman if a woman takes the decision of having an abortion, there are only two people. There are only two people that have a say in it. And the woman has always the final say on it. Her partner, father of the child, and her. Those are the only two people that have a say on it. The priests, the priests have nothing to say on it. The government has no say on it. No one has a bloody say on it. It's her body. And you want to know how it is around here in Europe? If the woman is in danger, you save the woman even if the child dies. Because she is a full blown citizen. And if you want to talk about sin, well, then I suppose that God meant women to get raped and be forced to have the children, for example. Want to know what my personal position is? And this is my personal position, and I have no issues in telling you. My first position is it's none of my business. This is my first position. Okay? What do I think about the subject? I think that when the fetus has any kind of problems, when the woman was raped or forced to have sex and produce that child, or when we are talking about a 14-year-old child, okay, in those, or when the pregnancy itself may endanger the life of the woman. In that case, I think more than uh, more than authorized, abortion should be mandatory. This is my personal position on the subject. But of course, like I said, my first position is that it's not my business. And in my opinion, my government, elected by us, has made their decisions upon it. So my job, let's call it like this, my duty, to be more precise, as a citizen, is to follow the rules and regulations of my country and to be a good citizen, to obey the law. All right. This big, wonderful bill won't bring almost any advantages. $1,000 to raise a kid. Let me tell you this. Will this big wonderful bill decrease your healthcare prices? Will this give you more healthcare? Will this give you more jobs? Will this put more money in your pocket? Will this improve your life at all? Or is this just a way of deconstructing all that Obama and other Democrat presidents did in this endless circuit of the Democrats trying to give something, and I'm not saying they're perfect, and then enter the Republican and fucks it all up. Again, I'm just looking at the patterns. I'm looking at Obama, that also was not a perfect president. He was weak. He allowed Russia to enter in the Crimea. So, in that sense, for me, weak. But he also had this. You were talking shit about Biden, and if I agree that it's true that he should not have been the presidential candidate when it started, the Democrats should have found someone more appropriate for the post. And I'm sorry to say Kamala was not, because with the amount of bigotry and machismo that exists and racism that exists in a large section of the American people, she would never get the job. Maybe if she was again the vice president of a male president, I think in that situation you would be able to elect her. Or if she went more in the sense of accepting and talking about the problems and the fears of the dumb idiots that voted for Trump and of the dumb idiots that didn't even vote. And I'm not going to talk about all the fuss about apparently the election was rigged and all of that, because that's not my I don't know enough about the subject to talk about it. But again, I decided to make this little stream just to vent out these opinions, to tell you, American people, especially you white working class guys, just like me, you elected a demon, and your representatives, your congressmen, they voted for your own demise. You are going to be a poorer country. You are going to be a country with more inequalities. You are going to be a country that will be a completely different United States. I think, look, it's already a completely different United States. I would not vacation in your country even if someone paid me for it. Okay, I would not be subjected to that. Subjected to the way you treat you look. You even treat badly people that are coming into your country to spend money and give you taxes. How dumb is that? Now, I think the stream has lasted long enough. I Let me just write here this. Thank you to anyone listening in. Okay, I thank you all. If anyone is listening to this now or afterwards, okay, and there's one thing I have to tell you. This event today, it will mark the history of your country for years to come. Because when it comes to the rest of the world, look, you will always be a part of the world, of course. But you are losing the importance that you had before. And even if you now have a very important president, a very good president that is elected after this one, and that he tries to reverse a lot of this and tries to reconnect with the allies, look, you are going to be able to mend some wounds. But to get back to that position in which you were in the beginning of this year, never. That is over. That is absolutely over. Don't even think about it. This is my advice, okay? From my experience, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. People will never trust you again. You have broken that bound of trust. And it would take a major event to alter this. Anyway, again, thank you very much for anyone that is listening to this stream now or that listening to it a posteriori. And I wish you all an excellent weekend.